Antonius, how does art communicate perception, cognition, emotion in those who experience the art? When you create art, how do you think that your art creates the perceptions and the new ways of thinking and the emotional feelings in those who view it?
Well, whew, I will tell you, as an artist and being engaged in a sense of purpose, and focusing on the question of identity, who I am, where I came from, and the environment and the things that influenced me. One can really, by looking at my art, in particular my sculpture, really get a sense as to, I guess, who I am, and some of the issues and concerns that I deal with. And in the context of the Bahamas, in the context of a young artist, growing up in the Bahamas and then going to the United States in search of higher knowledge and education, I realized that it is really important for one to understand a sense of identity, and to be rooted in that sense of identity, and also to acknowledge and to celebrate one's history and one's heritage. And in my case, I've had the privilege to work within a community of individuals who are very much concerned about the preservation of history and heritage in this colonial context. Being from the Bahamas, which is very much, has a strong colonial background and colonialism. And so for me, and understanding the fact that I'm actually of Bahamian heritage, and what does it mean to be from Bahamian heritage, and so therefore I have to also recognize the colonialism, but also understand the impact that slavery has had on us as a people, and the impact that tourism has on us as a people, and so as a result of that, through the rootedness of the trees and the opportunity to identify spaces and places that celebrates all of our history and our heritage, to have an opportunity to, through the creative process and through my art, to speak to preservation and to celebrate my ancestors and to celebrate the history of who we are. It's very important for me.
So in your art, who are you speaking to? Are you speaking to fellow Bahamians, or are you speaking to the world? You're speaking to the former colonialists?
I'm speaking to truth.
Okay.
And truth is universal.
Okay.
And so the reality is my truths are based and rooted in colonialism and in slavery.
Yeah.
And it is, for me, particularly growing up in this beautiful tropical environment, that it really seems to be a place where investors come and are able to create and celebrate the sun, sand, and sea, and what you call the coconut trees and the palm trees. Beneath all of that beauty and all of that glitter and glamour, there is the essence of a soul of a people who are very much influenced by all of this. The people who are allowed in as a result of workers, or people who are invited in to have meaningful conversations about the impact of these and the development of us as a people.
So how does your art communicate that? That's in your soul. You feel that in your soul. I could see it blossoming out. So, but how does your art take that, what's inside of you, and communicate it so at least a piece of that winds up in someone else? What is that perception process that you do?
Well, the perception process is, for me as an artist, how that actually translates in my art is the fact that it embodies a bit of our history, and it kind of represents a sense of place and a time and period that the Bahamas is built on.
So how do you do
let me
that?
say that, and I do that through the creative process of simply celebrating the essence of our history.
So how do you do that in your art? What is that? What is that one example of how you celebrate your history to communicate?
Well, let me give you one example.
Good.
All right, the fact that the whole concept of rootedness, the whole concept of belonging, is very much significant to a people and to us. And so the fact that through my art, if having, in this instance, if we look at the instance of sacred spaces, these sculptures are rooted. They belong. They grew into this space. I didn't bring them and put them in this space. All right, they came out of the earth. They belong. They anchored in the earth.
Okay.
So the fact that I celebrate that anchoredness, I celebrate
You
the
reveal
fact.
it.
I reveal. Well, actually, it is revealed, but I recognize it.
Oh, okay.
I recognize it, I embrace it, I celebrate it. I didn't impose it.
But other people don't see it.
But other people,
until you're there, other people don't see it. I didn't see it until you were there.
But other people, as a result of coming to this space,
yes,
other people begin to ask the question.
Okay, well,
and at least you.
But that's your creative process that you did.
But that is my creative process. But once I engage in my creative process, my work is done.
Oh.
It is up to you to do your homework and your research and to be sensitive enough and be compassionate enough to be able to ask the right question and to be present within the space and to understand and feel what or why is this space so important, or why is this art here. And so the fact that I have had the privilege to engage in the conversation of the sense of identity and sense of history in public art is very valuable to me.